So our next stop is Corsair, and we're here with John, and he's the power manager. All our CES 2016 coverage is brought to you by our very awesome sponsors, Be Quiet, MSI, and Cooler Master. So our first stop is ADATA, and we're in the suite, so we thought we would just take you around since there's a lot of products here and give you a look at what's here really briefly. DDR4 benchmarking, PCIe SSDs, and they're more server grade. Light up RAM called Dazzle. USBs, and more USBs, and hard drives. World's fastest type. They don't come off. So ADATA doesn't only do memory and storage, they also branched out into a few other things like power banks, dash cams, and even an RGB bulb. So our next stop is Corsair, and we're at the Corsair suite, and we're here with John. He's the product manager of power supplies, and we're going to go over their new small form factor power supply.
So this is our SF product line. It comes in a 600 watt and a 450 watt. It has a 92 millimeter fan, which is actually kind of unusual for this form factor size. Most of them have an 80 millimeter fan. You can see it's fully modular. The cables are of course shorter because it is made for smaller form factor cases.
Cable management.
All Japanese capacitors inside, and we give it a 7-year warranty.
So I turn around for 1 second and I catch Julia playing some Battlefront. But she's testing out the new lapdog, or basically a thing that you put on your leg so you can use a mouse and keyboard while gaming on a couch.
So we actually found out that this is detachable, and they're thinking of doing different maybe cushion densities and everything. And this is just attached by a magnet at the bottom of this. So you could put this on top of any other surface. Ooh. Or you could put it on your table, and then let's say you want to use your TV for certain things. If you're streaming to your living room, you could just pick up your entire keyboard and mouse with all the cable management already done. And you don't have to unplug this. You just need to unplug the main line, and then you can just pick it up and move. So the keyboard is modular, so you can pick it up and remove it. And what models can fit in here?
K65 and K70.
So moving on, we're at the cases now. So we've seen the 600C before. In fact, NCX PC has a custom build with one. But they also have the new 400C here, which is a smaller version. It's still ATX, but now it's normal. It's not inverted anymore. And it has a nice shroud on the bottom that's actually kind of modular. So it's on a slider, so you can have exactly however much room you want for your cables. And then as usual, they have a clear version and a solid panel. And then moving on over here, we actually have a new Spec Alfa case. So it's another ATX size case, but these ones are kind of cool. Instead of being tall like normal, they're actually shorter but longer. They both fit 240 millimeter radiators in the top and front. They have modular SSD mounts everywhere, and they have a fully removable cage right in the front there. So you can switch it out for, water cooling, for other stuff. So not just regular hard drives. So we're here in this kind of secret gaming room that they have set up with this game called Moving Hazard. So what they've done is they've integrated the lighting on the keyboard with Unreal Engine 4 itself. So you get a lot more dynamic events, such as when you're getting hit, you get hit markers on your keypad that show which direction they're hitting you from. When you run out of ammo, your reload key will start flashing. If you use up your grenades, it'll start flashing. Your health bar will slowly go down. So it's kind of nice to see a more dynamic lighting profile instead of just the traditional WASD that's lit up.
Okay, so we're at the canal walking to the Venetian now to meet MSI. And there's going to be a lot of goodies there, so
Yep.
excited. Fun fact, this is actually a steakhouse, but it looks like a Lenovo shop. So we made it to MSI's booth, and there's a ton of stuff here, but we found the Htc Vive here, and they're running it off the GT72S Dominator Pro laptop. So we're gonna give it a try.
So what makes the HTC Vive a bit different from, let's say, Oculus or other VRs is your ability to walk around in a room. So feel free to walk around, look around. If you get too close to the boundaries, a wall will pop up. If you look on the ground, you should see 2 controllers on the ground.
Yep. So these two?
Yep, go ahead and pick them up. If you look at your left hand,
That's kind of frightening, actually. It's a giant whale. Virtual 3D Photoshop. Hold trigger to paint.
go ahead and just draw anywhere you're going.
Yay! That is pretty cool. So it's also 3D painting, so you can go, it registers depth. So I can even see my name that I drew earlier in 3D on the side if I walk around it. I see my cat in 3D. That was very, very cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that was freaking mind-blowing. That was probably like supercars right here. HTC Vive is right here. It's a lot better than Gear VR because Gear VR, you couldn't move around. So all you could do was turn your head around like this 360 degrees, but it couldn't register your spatial movements. And you can interact with the things with the remotes as well. Like in the underwater scene, there's little fishes swimming around. So though you can't move anything in the environment, though I'm sure they will add that in later, you could reach out your hand and then the fishes will swim away from you. Okay, so there's a ton of stuff in the MSI booth now that we're done with the demo. They've got workstation laptops, their gaming laptops, and a ton of custom PCs, including the genius who created it all is actually here today.
Well, it's a fully functional liquid-cooled gaming computer. It's made from an aluminum frame for the stability, and then all the details are 3D printed. There's a lot of fiber optic cabling, about 300 feet.
So how many hours did you put into this?
Including the 3D design, I think about 400.
What next project are you going to do then?
I've got a request for a Millennium Falcon, a Battlestar Galactica, and a Serenity. So I'm going to be busy.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So on our way to the RGB motherboard, we found out that they don't have a functioning motherboard here today. So we came across this. This bad boy is the X99, a godlike gaming carbon motherboard. So previously this part up here was all red, but they heard from a lot of people that they wanted all black so that way they could use RGB lightings on some of their other models. So they changed it to carbon all black. So it's got 4-way SLI and it's using the MSI 4-way SLI bridge and it's attached to a fan. So you can remove this to put in other fans. So we got some badass custom PCs. And if you haven't noticed, they all have RGB lighting. I wonder why. Is it because they have an RGB motherboard? So this brings us to one of the most exciting. They have the Nightblade, which is the mini Itx Pc, and then they have this. This is the Vortex, and it's got two full-size GTX 980s in here. It's got 4 DIMM slots, 2 M.2, and a 2.5-inch as well. And then if we move on to the back, they won't let us open it, but you can. It is fully expandable. You just remove the screws and you can just pull out the cards as you need. So it's got 2 HDMI, 2 Thunderbolt, and 2 mini DisplayPort. If you didn't notice, this is very quiet. Well, it's a loud room here, but it's a very quiet PC because there's only one fan. And the way they divided it is 2 cards on the side and then everything else kind of in the back. And everything vents from the bottom upwards. So again, we can't open this, but hopefully we'll get our hands on a sample of this and then we'll rip that open and see what's inside. And this is supposed to release sometime in Q1, and they are also going to have a 960 version as well, but we don't know when that'll be released, but we're excited to get one.
So we're finished at the MSI booth now. It was a lot of fun. They had a lot of great demos.
Much fun.
So now we are on our way to the convention center for some booths.